Alright, so this is going to be a quick little video, quick little update after my last two videos. I feel like this just ties in so perfectly um, with my last two. So I'll post the link for those below. My most recent one was on me learning how to speak up and speak my truth and how much anxiety it gives me. Um, and that video was specifically about me being not the quiet person anymore, not the person who doesn't rock the boat, but me speaking up when a friend tagged me in a post about some girl that was found um, on a hiking trail um, up in North Phoenix, and I believe it was labeled Scottsdale, which is funny. Um, and just two different areas. North Phoenix is not known to be the nicest area. Scottsdale is known to be really nice, just to clarify. But it said, basically like some woman was murdered on a hiking trail. Was the whole like news story that somebody shared in this hiking group that I'm in on Facebook, and a friend tagged me and another girlfriend and was like, don't ever go hiking alone. And I was like, oh, you're so sweet, thank you for thinking of me. However, I almost died from my breast implants, and I'm not going to stop doing the activities that bring me joy just because I don't always have somebody to go with me. And I shared a photo of me hiking earlier that morning up in Sedona with my baby and my dog. Now I usually go with Lily, and sometimes a friend. I would say probably 80% right now, but even when I didn't have friends to go hiking with, I went anyways. I don't always bring my dog. He gets super excited when he sees other dogs, and it's just not always the most calming for me. And I like very chill hikes, so sometimes I bring him. I was very glad I brought him on the one up in Sedona. But anyways, I digress. And I made a comment saying that, oops, sorry, my background light, the TV, um, went dark. So I also made a comment then after about how I wish that, along with stories like these, I said, I wish that there were also stories posted, good news stories posted about all the times that women have gone hiking solo, alone, and returned home safely. And there was a lot of negativity posted towards that comment. A lot of people accusing me of being insensitive, accusing me of not having respect for the person that passed, like showing off and being like, oh, look at you, being all like, look at me, blah, 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 I hike alone, blah, 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 showing off when somebody else can't. And it was very triggering for me because, one, I'm not usually one to speak up, and I did, and I'm proud of myself for doing so. And I was like, in my, how it felt to me was being attacked. There was a lot. Like, I don't even want to screenshot and share them. It was really triggering for me, right? And reasons like that in the past are why I haven't spoken up and haven't said anything, is because of basically being bullied if I do speak up and if I'm truly myself, right? So I've shut it down in the past, and I'm trying to learn how not to shut down my light, my opinions anymore. And so I was incredibly triggered by it. I'm like, wow, I really triggered some people, right? Like, and I recognize that. I really, really triggered some people. It is not my job to defend myself in this. The comments actually got turned off in that post. One of the moderators did say if there's any more negativity, this post will be shut down. And the post did end up getting shut down. There was a post from a guy who was like, "Oh, look at you." He was like, "You're just asking for it now. You're going to be taught your lesson." And I was like, "Wow, okay." Like, that is. And then he was like, "Hey, admin, can we get somebody kicked out here?" His posts were deleted. I was like, "Are those threats? Like, what the?" um, Again, it was just like, and again, I'm not scared that some random guy on Facebook is going to come after me and teach me my lesson. I don't think the universe has that in store for me. I think the universe is trying to teach me how to speak up and be the light and share my light. And I think it's trying to teach me that in doing so, to be prepared, because I am going to trigger people, because people aren't used to that. People are used to the living in fear. They have been brainwashed, unfortunately, which sucks, to live in fear and to now be afraid to go hiking. And so I did end up doing my own research on this hiking trail. It's not really hiking, it's a preserve in North Phoenix. The reviews that I was reading, the top two describe it as a magical forest just outside the city. And somebody else was like, "This place is magical. I saw my first bobcat. We locked eyes and it was amazing." And I was like, "That's my kind of person right there." Like, yes, thank you. Like, it just took me back to Alaska and locking eyes with the lynx, and just, the lynx wasn't scared of me. I wasn't even necessarily scared of it. It was, I didn't want to frighten it. And I knew that if I moved quickly, I would frighten it, because as I ran into this lynx, I don't know how far away. I'm not good at distances. I could tell it was a lynx. It was close enough for that, but it was far enough away. But I mean, it wasn't far enough away that, like, if it did come after me, there was nothing I could have done, even if I hopped on my bike. Like, I'm no match for a lynx. um, but that stuff, it's in Anchorage, right? Like, it's in this, I can't even remember what the path is called. It's a 22-mile path. So 11 miles one way, 11 miles back, in oh, see, that would be fun to go bike that path. Anyways, in Alaska, and there's bears that you might see. There's moose, that I did see. There's lynx. There's all sorts of cool stuff. And I remember when I saw, sorry, again, I must be talking too much. Usually a picture comes on. The the lynx, it stopped and it sat in the path of where I was going. And I just remember riding up on it and seeing it, and I stopped on my bike and I was like, "Oh my God." And it sits, and I can see these like pointed ears and this tufts of fur coming out of the ear, and I was like, "That's a lynx." And it's just staring at me. And I was like, "Oh shoot, wait, I should be trying to take a picture of this." And I was like, "Well, don't move fast, because you'll scare it off." And so I'm like slowly reaching for my phone, and it scratches itself and it runs off. And I was like, "Oh, darn." I will never forget that moment. And they say take a mental picture, a mental snapshot. That is, like, it is forever ingrained in my mind of being such a magical moment. I was not scared that it was going to attack me. And this person in that review that saw their first bobcat, you could tell they were not scared. They saw a bobcat. They said that if they would have been riding a bike, bicycling or running, they would have scared it off. So they were not scared of it. They were not scared it was going to come attack them. The reviews for this place are magical. That's literally what it says in many reviews about this area. It's called Reach 11, in North Phoenix. One of the comments, the negative comments on my post was, "Well, what, you don't think other women should be warned? You're not going to go hike there now, are you?" No, I didn't think so. And yeah, I get the face and everything, because this is me impersonating what I think the other person is, like, this is my interpretation of the other person, right? And so that's kind of what led me to do a search. And I was like, wait, I was looking for a place just like this when I was going through my NDE. I felt so called to go to a forest and hike amongst trees. And I Google searched like anything like this around me, and nothing came up, right? It wasn't supposed to at that time. But I just felt like I needed to go hike amongst trees, and there's not something like that local. And when I say local, I wanted something like local. Well, North Phoenix is like 45 minutes from me. That's local, like, and that's exactly what I was looking for. I did end up going to not local at all, but to the Mount Shasta area instead. And I got a magical walk through a forest there, and that totally was everything I needed. Um, but so, anyways, I was like, oh my god, this place is exactly what I've been looking for. This magical forest around me. Yes, I do plan on going there now. And then I was like, no, why would I stop that from letting me go there? Yes, it sucks that some woman lost her life. There's no idea of what happened. This person could have lost her life elsewhere by somebody that she knew and been dumped there. She could have been on a walk with somebody that she knew and it didn't go well. That part sucks, yes, and especially the grief of those that like she's left behind. Because as we know, like you're pure love on the other side. Like, and I know so many people are afraid of dying, and I think my fear mostly stems from leaving people behind. Like, I have 3 kids, and the thought of leaving them behind when I was going through the re-outbreak in December, which I don't even really think I've shared. I don't think I've shared that vulnerable time. I'll have to share that because I did take pictures again when I started breaking out again and thinking like, oh my god, is this gonna take over my whole body again? Am I gonna die? It wasn't afraid of dying, it was afraid of what happens to these children. I was like, well, the older 2 are okay, they have their dad. Is it ideal? Of course not, but they have somebody. But Lily doesn't. I don't even have anybody that I would trust right now to raise her. Like, and her dad's not in her life. Like, I don't have a godparent assigned to her because I'm going through my own healing phase. That would be a lot of trust, right? That she would be taken care of. And that's where I would just have to say, okay, well, if I do die, what happens? You don't know. But maybe the most magical people will come along and adopt her, and that will be your family, right? That's sitting in your biggest fear. That's another video of mine. What's your biggest fear? And just sitting in that. Like, well, okay, so if it does, then what? What if? So anyways, I was super triggered by all of these comments, and they were not nice. There was a lot of caps, a lot of yelling, a lot of angry reactions, and me being like, I'm not going to delete my comments. I'm not. Old me would have. Old me, I'm realizing, never would have gone hiking alone. Old me wouldn't have been comfortable enough with myself to go hiking alone. And old me would have, waited to have people to go with. And actually, I take that back. I think before I met my ex-husband, I actually did go hiking with my dog, with Snickers. And that's the thing, I would go for runs with my dog. Like, of course I'm gonna go do stuff on my own. Like, people go running all the time on their own. Like, it's not. But again, that's where the news comes in, and it tries to make you live in fear. And my friend sent me a screenshot today because I was telling her what happened. And it must have come up on her phone. Her phone must have heard us talking, and it came up on her phone, a news story about it. And it was basically warning people, don't go hiking alone. Take a partner, because a woman found murdered on a hiking trail in North Phoenix. And it's like, okay, I mean, is it a hiking trail? It's a walking path. But alright, like, way to just, like, they gotta make us live in fear, right? It's a control tactic. It's a control mechanism. It's what we learn, that's how they control us, is through fear. and learning that we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to. And then realizing how independent I actually am, because I can do all that stuff now. I can go out to eat, I can go hiking, I can travel to Alaska and hitchhike, couch surf, take public transit, stay in a hostel, go hiking and meet people. Like, I can do all that and be safe and know that the universe, my angels, my guides, my loved ones on the other side, they have all got my back, right? Like, I'm here for a reason, for a purpose. I sometimes feel lost with what that purpose is, but these 3 kids are part of my purpose, and I'm going to enjoy it as long as I can, and I'm not going to live in fear, because if I do, then what part of, oh my goodness, guys, I'm so sorry. Then there we go. There's the picture. Then what's the purpose of even being here if all I'm gonna do is be too scared to actually live this life? And so, one, giving myself props for how far I've come, and then 2, this is where it comes in with my first video of the universe, our guides, our ancestors, our angels, our archangels, whoever it is, that you believe is guiding you. Your higher self. There is guidance. That is without a doubt. 100%. And so, again, as you know, one of my ways is through Instagram. So the day after that post, my heart was racing. Oh, middle of the night, that night, I got food poisoning. It was miserable. Yeah, I won't even go into details. We'll just say it was miserable for the next, about 24 hours. And I had a emergency IV come and IV me. And I think a large part of my takeaway there is that I'd been seeing a lot of posts about gut health and eating clean, and I wasn't making some of the smartest decisions that my soul wanted. And it was like, all right, girl, we're done. No more of this crappy Chinese food. Like, I'm not okay with that. And when I say crappy, I mean in the fact that it wasn't, in my opinion, good, high quality Chinese food. Like where I really wanted to go up in Sedona. Red Chopstick, by the way. I really love it. I've been there a couple times. Their snowshoe chicken, I think is what I got. Oh my god. So good. So many veggies. So good. This was not that. The fried rice was like fried rice, no veggies, no nothing. But the orange chicken, there was two pieces of broccoli. It was shown with a lot more veggies. There was not. It was shown with veggies in the rice. There was not. So I think it was literally my soul's way of clearing that stuff out and being like, no, you're not eating that again. I was like, okay, touche. I have not been listening, because food is a trigger for me, because I love food and I hate it when people shame food. But I think it's time for a little clean out, and I'll start listening now. So anyways, the next morning though, I go on Instagram probably once a day, sometimes twice, 3, It's when I find myself endlessly scrolling that I'm like, should you delete it from your phone for a while? Do you need to take a little break? Is that what you want to spend your time doing? And sometimes, I go on there and I see a couple of great messages. I'm like, this is exactly what I needed. A little uplift, a little boost of positivity. Thank you. And so this was one of the very first, I think number 3 that popped up. You'll be forever triggering others when you live as your authentic self. And the best part italicized, and it has nothing to do with you. That was literally exactly what I needed to hear after the night before. I was just completely and totally mind blown. Like, it just helped me know that going forward on my path, if I'm going to choose to live authentically me, I'm going to trigger others. It's just going to be it. And in the process, that might also trigger me, because there was a lot of negativity, like a lot, where I was like, okay, like, this does not feel good to be talked to like this. But again, that's just a reminder that it's because other people do live in a lot of fear, and me coming on and saying, like, hey, we don't have to be scared and live in fear,
Mama?
is not a popular
Mom?
opinion.
I was scared of these animals.
For animals?
Yeah. I thought they were real life animals.
Oh, you did.
I thought the Mickey Mouse was a mouse and a Mickey.
I gotcha. Alright.
Mama?
Alright.
See these buns?
Yeah.
This is the quiet, this is the loud.
That is. That's cool. And then the last thing I wanted to say really quick. The last thing I wanted to say was, so part of me did think about, right, like, dimming my own light. Like, do I continue to speak out? Do I, like, this is not easy to do. When I'm done, I'm going to give it and we can talk in just a minute. And so today, my daughter's playing dollar store with the nanny while I'm working, and one of my clients no-showed, and so I used the opportunity to take a little nap. And so she goes and she gets a book out of the bookshelf, and it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And my son asks me if I will read it tonight. So I said sure. And as I'm reading the book, I was realizing it was that perfect reminder of exactly, again, what I needed to hear. The universe talking to me. Do not dim my light. Let it shine brightly. Let other people know that they don't need to live in fear. That they should do what brings them joy and not be scared to do so. And it was exactly that reminder that I needed, that encouragement to do so. So do what you love. It's okay to have fear. I get that. We do. But just know that you are loved and you are guided, and there's a higher power out there helping you on this journey and talking to you and guiding you and cheering you on this journey. And do what you love, do it joyfully, and there you go. What Anita says, like, live your life fearlessly. So I love you. Have a great night. I have a little addendum to that last video because of one thing that I forgot. So I have these Dove dark chocolates in a little snack fridge for my kids, with some juice, some water, some apples. Sometimes I'll put other fruit in there, and they can just go in there and get stuff out at will. And this is one of the things in the wrapper, and my daughter's always wanting me to read them. My son hardly ever wants me to read the wrapper. He usually just crumples it up, throws it away, but he comes up to me, and this is after everything that had happened, and he goes, "Mommy, will you read this?" But I didn't understand him because, I don't know, sometimes he just hands it to me for me to throw away. And he said, "Will you read it?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." And it says, "Be fearlessly authentic." And it's just those little things, those little reminders. And it doesn't mean that I always remember sometimes, like, if I get scared and, like, money is still a trigger for mine, things are definitely tight. It's difficult right now being a single mom of three. I have been taken care of, like, things have always gone okay. I mean, it's kind of one of those where I'm like, well, what's my worst fear? Not having a house, a roof over our heads. So, what would you do if it came down to that? I guess you'd move into like a domestic violence homeless shelter, and that would just be part of your life. And it's one of those things where it's just like, I sat in that fear and cried, and then I'm like, well, then where would I work? How would I work? Like, I wouldn't have a table, I wouldn't have a room to work out of, and all the things, and let myself freak out about that. I'm like, why are you freaking out? Like, everything's telling you, like, just be authentic, be you. And money is just still, it's still one of them. It's funny because even with people attacking me like that, it triggers me, but it's not the same fear as money, which is just such an interesting one, right? Because it's like, I want to be doing what brings me joy. And part of what brings me joy is just helping you guys and guiding you on your journeys and helping learn along the way, right? Life is a learning process. And if I can help others learn how to receive guidance from the other side, their loved ones, if I can help people learn how to follow their dreams, if I can, help others on the path, that brings me a lot of joy. This kind of stuff brings me a lot of joy. It just doesn't really pay the bills at the moment. um so anyways, I wanted to share that. That's just another way that the universe communicates with me. Like, out of all the Dove Dark chocolates that are in there, the one wrapper that my son brings to me for me to read, be fearlessly authentic. Just that encouragement to continue to speak out and be the light, and help others, and know. And it's funny because that's where I feel totally safe, right? Going, and I've done that one now with the universe to just show me I'm safe. But yet money is still one that I hold on to, but I'm conscious of it. I am definitely conscious of my issues with money, my fear around money, versus a lot of people who are just living in fear of doing anything, going anywhere, doing anything they love because of that. And this hasn't stopped me from doing things like planning my trip to Kauai. Does it mean that I have money in the bank to pay rent next month? No, I don't. So what does that mean if it comes down to it? Well, I guess I could touch my Roth. There's a little bit in there. Or if it really, really, really came down to it, I guess I would have to cancel the Kauai trip, but I don't want to do that. I would rather use the little bit of money that I have in savings and take it out and pay the penalty in order to pay rent than cancel my Kauai trip. I've also been experiencing some cyclical challenges, so I will share those with you guys in my next video. I love you.